I gotta say, there's a scary trend happening in entertainment, and it's primarily being done in movies where you look at the trailer, right? And the trailer looks phenomenal. Like, you're looking at it, you're invested in the world, you're invested in, the situation, the lore, and you're like, well, I want to see where this goes. And then you watch the movie, and it's kind of just dog doo doo, no pun intended. So, my friend and my brother went to see Werewolves because my friend, I think he's seen the original Werewolves, and he was sold on this, and he said the trailer looked interesting, and I believed him. It looked good. I was also interested. I wanted to see Red One, but we're seeing Red One with the expectation that it's just going to be a bad movie with The Rock. And so we could see that another time. So when we seen this, just because out of just pure curiosity, and we had expectations, right? Not the highest, but we were interested in the world. And it's like, okay, it spoilers. It wasn't that good of a movie in my opinion. Because I'm trying to recollect it because I think it was last weekend. Because you go into the movie and there's this lore dump about how once a year these creatures, the werewolves, people transform into werewolves, and they start killing and eating people. And the movie starts with just the news real talking about it, them going into this whole hoity-toity scientific ideation about, oh well, we have something resembling a cure for this, and it goes through this montage of the main character's family, which is this dude, his wife, and his daughter, and I assume like they kept hinting back at the person who died, and I'm assuming he died in the movie beforehand. Again, I haven't really watched it, but it's going into this montage, and then there's people boarding up their houses, battening down the hatches because the werewolves are coming, and they're just talking on the news about this, and it's like, oh, well, we'll call it the supermoon, which, okay, fine, goofy scientific terminology. Then they go into goofy sci-fi with the cure. So you go to our main character, who is this guy Frank Grillo. Our main character, he's going off to work. He kisses his wife on the forehead goodbye, leaves a wife and daughter, and he goes off into uh, his job, which, okay, well, his job is, yeah, I think he works I think he was previously a firefighter, but now he works in this lab where they're trying to find a cure for the werewolves. And this starts out interesting because I'm like, okay, so they're kind of tackling this from an angle that that just modern technology, modern ideation will do if there's a situation beyond our control, beyond our comprehension. Well, we're going to do our best to comprehend it. We're going to slap, goofy scientific terminology onto them. And it's surprising within a year that they found this cure. And again, someone hinted that, oh, his shit's hitting the fan in like Japan and Korea. And okay, so off the bat that it is now a worldwide phenomenon. And I mean, it does a lot of, I guess, just, it does a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of talking about things instead of really showing the things that are happening. I mean, you don't really need a whole expositional spiel on what's going to happen. So we're sitting in this lab where the 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 super moon's about to happen. They have these people who were previous werewolves in these cages, and now they're about to shine the super moon on them while they spray them with this I can't remember the name, the anti-werewolf serum. And at first it works for a little bit, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, oh," and everyone's cheering. And then a couple minutes after, then the people in the cages start to turn. And this is when things start to get interesting because you get, okay, now the action's commencing. Now the movie begins. and you know, things happen. One of the werewolves breaks out of its cage after the guy changed. And now that he's going through this montage where they're slicing up and slashing up these guys that I think they're in like hazmat suits, but they have guns because, well, werewolves. And this is one of the problems I start to see is the fact that they're going to shy away from showing gore because older movies, again, the point as a gore movie is to show, the werewolves effectively doing the brutal Mortal Kombat takedown on the humans and ripping them to pieces. And there's like a little bit of that in this movie, but then they realize, oh yeah, we can't show too much because it might raise the rating. Like you can only show a couple seconds of this. So, and the lab's all misty and foggy, so there's a lot of implication because someone's just pulled into the fog, and they're dead, but it doesn't show that they're dead. So our main character, and I guess this guy was the CEO because he got sliced by one of the werewolves, I think. Or did he turn into the werewolf? Well, he's fucked. And so this guy is leaving, and one of the guys that did get like slashed by the werewolves. He's carrying him out the lab area, and they meet I guess this woman who's like the daughter of the CEO of this company that's trying to amass a cure for the werewolves. And then this is also another problem. It keeps jumping between the main character and this random woman and his wife and child at home. It's just jumping back and forth through these with all the scenes. And I wish they would just cut the woman and the child out or just show it for a little bit. So I'm probably going to do a lot of skipping because there's only really a couple of interesting points. The rest of it is just them avoiding the werewolves. So they're trying to leave this facility, okay, so this guy's about to shoot one of the werewolves, but this woman stops him. I'm trying to find who the hell she was on here. Werewolf movie. Characters. Okay, it's showing me like completely different movie. But yeah, this guy and one of the other, I guess, main characters that you don't care about. And the movie even does a lot of skipping. Like, so he's about to shoot this werewolf, but she stops him. So I know it's Blood's fucking Steve. You can't shoot Steve. And it's like, my brother in Christ, she's a fucking werewolf. Fuck Steve. But then she shoots the something, it gets in his eyes, the werewolf goes, oh fuck. And then they go through a door. Then it immediately jumps to them jumping in a car and leaving. I'm like, now wait a minute. Couldn't there have been things that happened between then and there? But then, again, it jumps back to the woman and the daughter. And I legitimately only remember a couple of situations with them. But whatever. So, this guy and the woman, I'm really just trying to find, the 2024 characters. Okay. Okay, well, here's her from the side. Oh, yeah, okay. So this guy and the woman are, I think this is one of the scenes where they're going down, and they meet a couple of werewolves that are just on the street. And for some reason, the werewolves are fucking idiots. They're like this crackheads from the 7-Eleven, and they're just banging on this car. And I'm like me and the boys on the fence. And they're doing this. This is the stealth section of the movie. So they're stealthing past these werewolves that are just going ham on this vehicle like crackheads. And I guess eventually they go under the vehicle because the wolves start moving because one of them howls. And it's a very tense scene, but you kind of get that idea that, well, this is the problem with most modern movies. It's like, you know who has the protagonist syndrome, like the, plot armor, and who's going to survive and who's not, because, Hollywood modern day movie, you can't kill everybody, right? So the wolves go past, they get up, and then, I don't know, something happens, and now they're being chased by the wolves, and they're kind of running, and they're running. It pops back to the woman and the daughter, who are cringe, but whatever. And another thing comes to mind at this point. It's like, well, what about all the other people of the city? Because you only really see this guy and this woman until they get to like this, I guess, this underground mall area where there's a lot of people. And it's an interesting situation about not, well, civilization, but like the type of people that, has to exist outside of, having homes and being able to defend themselves. And they kind of perform these like ghettos and these like undergrounds. And he wants to use this underground place to get to his wife and kid because this kid leads them to like a closing mall, like, those metal grate things that are on tracks that sort of you pull over. And then you find these people, and you're like, well, this is an interesting idea, but they don't really go anywhere with that. And there'll be a lot of that in this movie. It's like, this is an interesting idea that goes nowhere. Because I think at this point you go back to this wife and kid, and oh yeah, their neighbor is this guy who I guess just wants to hunt werewolves, but he immediately gets fucking killed and turned into one. And now he's, I guess, the antagonist of this family. Oh yeah, the first time they actually show any decent amount of gore is with this woman's other neighbor, which is this girl and her mother. And this girl's like in the front of the yard, and one of the rules is do not open that door for anyone. And this woman's literally about to break that rule because goofy character. And then this werewolf comes and I guess like absolutely obliterates this girl. And I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a little bit of gore. And then it like pushes her dead body up against the electric fence. And I don't know, for some reason his mom's like, oh, I'm gonna get back at you. So she, I guess, sprays this wolf with, I don't know, bear spray. It's like, that's what you get. I'm like, okay, waste of fucking time, whatever. So we're back to this goofball and Miss Woman. And they come across as these guys that are just gunning down and hunting werewolves. Again, yet another interesting faction and situation they could have delved into. But okay, now they see these guys, these dudes point their guns out, like put your hands up, and they're like, no, no, we're good, we're good. The werewolf then kills these guys, and the guy, because one of them's on like this 20 millimeter, 20 millimeter machine gun looking ass thing. You know, oh, hey, that's interesting, right? So he's like, oh, we need to get to that car since the werewolf killed this guy. And then this woman was like, oh, I have an idea. And she walks out in front to these werewolves, and she just roars in their face. And then the werewolf roars back. I'm like, why are we doing this song and dance? It's like when you know the movie is just being a movie and not, being scary or fucked up or, any interesting. Because then this guy gets on that turret and starts gunning down the fucking werewolves. And, okay, he guns them down. There's like this montage of this werewolf getting pincushioned with bullets. And the woman gets to the car, but then this werewolf hand descends from the sky, grabs her, throws her up, and she just despawns, apparently. And again, it doesn't show any of the gore. It doesn't show her dying. Maybe there's a sequel. I don't know. I feel like that's yet another thing they might have gotten into, but then they just sort of gloss over that. So this goofball gets in his car. He's going home. Oh, yeah. And this man's wife is kind of just dumb. Oh, yeah, here's a picture of him getting on that gun, the Gatling gun, which was a cool scene. I'll admit, this was actually pretty damn cool. And obviously, they showed it in the trailer. And, yeah, this is the scene with the thing that happened that made the werewolves be like, oh, we're attacking you now. Here's his wife and his kid. And the wife is like, they have this shotgun. And now the neighbor who's a werewolf, what the fuck is this? Whatever. The man that was their neighbor who's now a werewolf has other werewolves. And this woman has a shotgun and she's just wasting ammo, shooting it at the wall, shooting it at the ground. She's doing the one thing that you shouldn't do, and that's drawing attention to yourself. It's like that was one of the rules. It's like, don't do anything to draw attention to yourself. She's doing that very fucking thing with the werewolves. And at this point, it's like, okay, the werewolves are probably intelligent because they knock over, like, a power, like, pole, a wooden power pole, and it knocks into the electric, I can't get over this, an electric fence. And at that point, you're like, oh, okay, so they're intelligent, so why are they then going back to acting like fucking crackheads? Here's a guy who's a werewolf that was her neighbor. And she's just firing off all these shots, wasting ammo, and now she's all out of ammo, and now there's this montage with her and her daughter trying to avoid the werewolf. This goofball comes through in the front, like in front of the house, and he runs over all these werewolves. I was like, how did he get? I can't remember how he even got in the door. He didn't run into it. I think he just opened the fucking door. And now it's just this guy and his wife in the house, and kid in the house. This goofball's still here. So this man's like, oh, I'm going to defend you. Do whatever you do. Don't open that door. Because it's almost morning, so it's all almost over. He goes outside, becomes a fucking werewolf, 1v1s this werewolf for some fucking reason, right? At that point, I'm already, like, tuning out, like, I'm curving in like a fucking pretzel. I'm like, oh, God. So, and he does a Mortal Kombat kill on this werewolf, which it was, again, interesting. again, but the problem is the movie just turns away from showing gore for some reason. Like, what even is this rated? I think it's rated M for mature. Or is that the right movie rating? But yeah, so now this guy as a werewolf is going back to hunt the family, and he walks in the door, and his wife is like showing him pictures of the family, like, oh, please remember. And this dude as a wolf is like, acting like a fucking, he's on the fence looking at the picture. And this woman has a shotgun and found one more shell, and then the wolf knocks her to the ground, I guess. I think that's what happens. She then was like, acting like she's about to shoot him, but then instead she shoots a hole into the house, which creates a hole for the sun to come in. And then this guy starts standing up, and he's back to normal. And now he's mewing. For some reason, he's mewing. And then they kiss each other, and then the movie just ends after that. I gotta say, like, I was not impressed with this movie. And it's going again. It's such an odd situation where the trailers look amazing, but the movie's just garbage. And people can only fall for this so many times until they're just shunning off movies like these in its entirety. So, I don't know if I was going to give an arbitrary score. Like a 4. Because, I mean, it's as long as you're watching it with friends to discuss. Because, again, me, my brother, and my friend, we're like theory crafters. We'll be like, okay, if they would have did this, this, and this, the movie would have been interesting. I guess pondering that is fine. But if you want entertainment, again, this movie's not really that entertaining. So yeah, 4 out of 10 would not recommend. But that's all. I can't fucking get over this goofy shit. That's all I gotta say about this. Peace.